Hey queens, welcome back to my channel. I am Gabby, also known as Be Naturally Glam. So we're gonna jump right into this video. I felt like I needed to share my experience with you guys. As you can see, we're going to talk about postpartum, and just because I mentioned postpartum does not necessarily mean I'm talking about postpartum depression. That is just a proper terminology for post-birth. I feel like a lot of women are not prepared for postpartum. I know I wasn't. Everyone focuses so much on pre-labor, pregnancy, and a lot of healthcare professionals focus so much on your pregnancy and labor and delivery. It's like, who really prepares you for postpartum? It has not been easy. That's all I'm going to say. First, I need to mention one thing that I forgot in my labor and delivery video. But as you can see from my background, this is actually my baby's crib. From when she gets bigger. Right now, you know, she's in a bassinet because she's still a newborn. But my mom got her this crown and I was like, oh my goodness, isn't it beautiful? But at the very top is a M that my mom put in there with rhinestones. But I was like, oh, this has to be my new background. I love it. But anyways, oh, and by the way, it is Black History Month. Wakanda forever. Anyways, back on track. But one thing I forgot to mention in my labor and delivery video was antibacterial soap. If you've had surgeries in the past, then you know what I'm referring to. But just a tip for you guys, I did ask my OB doctor and she said it was safe, by the way. You can bathe with antibacterial soap before going into the hospital. Now, I'm not saying go all in depth with the crevices. No, just on the exterior surfaces of your skin. Bathe with your regular soap and then afterwards just do the antibacterial soap one time. But since you're going to the hospital, you know it's a lot of people there who are sick, so just to prevent you from more germs, that's what you can do. But next I want to say, like I told you in my labor and delivery video, that was my first time being admitted into the hospital. And you guys, when I saw this bill, now mind you, I was only there for 2 days, the 28th through the 30th. My bill was $9,000. Let me say that again, $9,000 for 2 days. I am so thankful that I met my deductible because that's a lot of money for 2 days. That's ridiculous. But moving along, now we're going to actually jump into our topic for today. Today is February 13th. So this past Monday was my actual 6 weeks postpartum. Yes, you guys, I made it. I made it. It has been very hard. The key is having a great support system. My parents have been so helpful. Actually, my aunt and cousin flew in from Minnesota. I remember crying, sometimes for no reason. At times I had a reason. I'm always so hard on myself. That's one thing about me that you didn't know. When it comes to any task, I am hard on myself. I'm a perfectionist, so it's like you know what you're doing. You got to get this right. Seems like you got to get it right the first go around. But when it comes to a baby, that's not it. It's not going to happen the first go around because it's all new to you. And you are learning your baby, and your baby is learning you. That's why it was so difficult. I'll say the first, probably the first few weeks, especially when it came to breastfeeding. That I just felt so frustrated on. I'm like, I got to get this. What is going on? It hurt so bad. I had to keep telling myself, okay, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. At times, I wanted to quit though. I'm like, you know what, girl, you going to formula. I was done. When I saw the skin peel from my nipple, woo! And then it bled one night. I was like, okay, That's how the first few days are. But I can say I made it through. We got past it. My baby is still breastfeeding. We doing a thing. We done learned each other. So it just takes time. You know, each day it gets better. If you do not want to breastfeed your baby, which you already know, if you didn't know, I'm going to tell you that breastfeeding is the best for your baby. Some women don't want to do it. I've heard some crazy stuff. I don't want no sagging breasts. Okay, let me tell you something. Come a little close. Come a little close. Girl, you ain't gonna be young all your life, okay? So do what's best for your baby. Breastfeed your baby, especially if you are just saying no because of the appearance that you may have afterwards. Don't do that. I mean, that's the most beneficial thing. You know, you can have some surgery done to get them fixed, you know, get them lifted if you need to. But I will say, if you don't want to breastfeed your baby, like they'll tell you in the hospital, at least give your baby the colostrum. Colostrum is produced before you actually have your milk. And colostrum is also called liquid gold because it has that color to it. And your milk actually come in like a week later. For me, I want to say I had colostrum for 3 days and then my milk came in on the 4th day. So give it about a week. If you don't take anything else to heart from this video, at least take that part. I'm serious about that. My baby is not latching good on my right breast. It could be because I'm right-handed. So, you know, the positioning is better with her laying on my left side. But we're still having problems with the right breast. So guess what? One breast is bigger than the other. See? Do I care about that? No, because it'll start looking a little proportionate. It's fine. Whatever. You'll be fine if yours look the same way. It looks funny at first. But just know what you're doing it for. Think about your baby. I use my breast pump, and the right breast, it'll be like trickle, trickle, 1 or 2 drops when I'm finished pumping. What I did was, actually my aunt found a recipe for lactation cookies, and I can put that in the description box for you. But you guys, that really helped me produce more. They're so good. Be careful because you can gain weight from them. I was making the lactation cookies and I purchased the mother's milk tea bags, and both of those are great, you guys. I think if you buy those, you will benefit from them. You will tell. At first I was like, these cookies ain't gonna work, but it's so much fiber in those cookies. When I was researching, you know, what I could do to help produce more, I noticed oats was in a lot of recipes. Like, a lot of people were talking about they eat a lot of oatmeal. And that's one of the ingredients in the lactation cookies that I made. Moving on, while I'm discussing all of these things, you guys, a lot of people have came to me and was like, girl, you talking about this like you've had a baby before. No, like I told you, Marielle is my first baby, and I didn't even get to go into the hospital for a class. What I did was find, like on Instagram, you know how they have ads and everything, just a ad from the Baby Academy came through on my screen, and I just clicked on it, and that was my first class. It was a free class. I can drop their name down at the bottom. You will see different days where they offer a free 2-hour class, I want to say. But do that class. It's really helpful. I didn't have a latch class for breathing, but no, I had to learn all this on my own. I feel like this pandemic messed me up so much. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got to the hospital. But when I told you I didn't get into postpartum depression, I was so emotional with the breastfeeding part. That was just really frustrating to me, because I'm like, oh, my baby isn't getting enough. What am I doing? Or how do I even know if she's getting enough? And come to find out, my baby was not getting enough. So I have to alternate breast milk and formula. I hate it, but that's what I have to do. My baby lost a lot of weight The max is 10%. She was in the 8th percentile. And what they tell you is let your milk produce first before you try to pump. Because it's like, what are you pumping? So let your baby latch on as much as possible within them 2 weeks of birth. And then you can start pumping. But we almost done with this video. The last thing I want to talk about are the items that I use after delivery. Y'all, delivery, well, like I said, postpartum is no joke. Oh, I didn't tell you, but with me during my delivery, I had a 3rd degree tear, and the most common tear is a 2nd degree. My tear was through the perineal muscle all the way back to the anal sphincter. The anal sphincter helps open and close your anus. So yeah, that's a major tear. All I remember is opening my eyes and seeing so much blood in a bucket, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? What is going on? Then I was feeling little pinches. So due to the 3rd degree tear, I had to get stitches, and I forgot to tell you, but you guys, that's why I was getting frustrated too. I was crying because of that pain. When I tell you, like I said, people don't prepare you for postpartum. It is no joke, especially if you have a tear. It was hard to wipe, and it was so much blood. Trying to have a bowel movement was rough because, you know, part of my anus was stitched up. So I had to take a stool softener every day, you know, just to loosen it up. But yeah, that actually brings me to all the items that I used after birth. So first, if you remember me talking about Aeroflow, who gave me my free breast pump, if you sign up with them, they will also give you this. It is a postpartum support garment that helps, you know, with your stomach. And guess what? For those who don't want to breastfeed your baby, breastfeeding helps you lose your stomach. So that's something to think about. Helps you lose that extra fat. Postpartum garment works really good. You can leave it on through the night. That's what I do. I've slept in it a couple times, but I got this waist snatched. But speaking of the tear again, this right here is your best friend. I thought people were playing when they told me this. And by the way, before I left the hospital, they told me I had to pee 3 times. When I tell y'all that was the first time in my life I was ever scared to pee, I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to burn so bad. But it actually didn't. But they give you this Perry bottle to help soothe the pain, to keep it near. Remember I told you I had these sexy Depends. See, you have more coverage and they fit tighter. I use those because you're bleeding heavily. The ones they give you in the hospital are these ugly mesh ones that are real big. I'm sitting up here like, this is so uncomfortable, because also with the tear, so you don't have any bruising and to keep the swelling down, they'll give you one of these. It's a perineal ice pack. And what you do, you break it in half, it pops, and that's how the ice pack is activated. It helped so much, but they gave you those big, long, ugly pads in the hospital too. So you will layer it. You'll do the pad, this ice pack on top of the pad, and you also get these witch hazel pads, which are so soothing. And lastly, they give you this dermaplast, which helps with pain and itching. I didn't use this much. I mean, I did feel the coolness of it at the beginning, but afterwards I'm like, okay, why I'm starting to feel a little burn. I wasn't feeling this. So I use more of the witch hazel pads. And I forgot one thing when I was talking about breastfeeding. You are going to need this lanolin cream. It's another cream with shea butter. I'll drop that down in the description box. When I rubbed this lanolin cream on my nipple, I could tell she was looking kind of, you know, like, what is this? You can wipe it off. But the cream that I found that works a little better for me is on Amazon. I just had to get on here and share my postpartum experience with you. Hope you enjoyed this story time, if that's what you want to call it. But thank y'all so much for watching. If you have any questions, please drop them down in the description box. You know I am here to help any way I can. I will see y'all next time.